Welcome to the Untitled Artcast. I'm Hunter.
And I am Kass.
And this is a podcast about just our art interests and how we just really enjoy that. And this is episode 0, which means we're just going to kind of explain us first, get a good baseline of like what we like and what our style is and, you know, what we've done and what's going to be kind of like talked about more often and stuff.
I'm a little sick right now, so it might sound kind of weird, but other than that, we're just going to keep on rolling with this shit.
We're going. Well, I am Hunter, and I'm a filmmaker and also a writer, and I think I want to get more into music too, but that's kind of something for the future. But we're interested in, at least me, and I'm pretty sure you are too, but we're both pretty interested in all forms of art.
Yeah, it's just always been kind of a heavy influence on me, like just throughout the entirety of my life.
It's funny because for me, I didn't really have an artistic awakening until like maybe like two years ago.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah, because I just really didn't think of the world like that. I thought like, you know, that it was never something that I could do.
Yeah, it's just kind of this whole awakening process for sure. I think I've just always liked it, but I've always been aware of like the power that art kind of has. I feel like it makes you able to really empathize or even touch or see a perspective or something. You know what I mean? It gives you a different view that you never would have considered like instantly.
It's completely different.
Yeah,
and it's different for everyone.
And that's what's so great about it, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, it really definitely like changed how I view everything, you know. I mean, I took my first art kind of class was like, or like a serious one was in college, like with just drawing 101. Just I suck at drawing, but I just wanted to take something. And mainly a lot of that was just drawing lines. Make sure you have really good lines. And then like look at negative space. Try to draw something with like the edges and not like the whole.
Yeah, that's
like I had a picture that I drew that was like a lantern, but drawing just the outside of it. It was really, it's something.
That's cool as fuck.
Yeah. It helped me like notice shapes better, and it definitely helps me now still, like with setting frames and stuff.
Yeah, I think it inspires you in a way that you can't quite describe.
Yeah, it's weird. For sure. It just makes you feel good. What was your first like art kind of like exposure?
I have memories of like being 4 and being on the
like
floor and coloring
what's one
and
of like
painting.
your one of your favorite memories about it?
Oh, I have so many. I think my favorite memory would have to be like I told you that time I auditioned for the school play. I couldn't do it because I had a job at the time and I just didn't have the time to. He was really into it too. He tried to convince the dance instructor to work with me on different days just so I could get in. I was just like, wow.
That's really nice.
You know, I've always kind of struggled with emotions because of my personality disorder. And I feel like art really helps me to encapsulate that in a way that's good, in a way that makes sense, in a way that, you know, is
healthy.
Yeah, is healthy, exactly. It's helped me in a way that nothing ever really has, you know what I mean? Or it speaks to me in a way.
Yeah, it does to me too.
And so I guess with that memory, I remember I was freaking out. I'd only taken like really basic acting courses and I'd already had a monologue down, but I wasn't very confident in it, like at all. So I just kind of sat in my feelings for a bit and I just took a deep breath and I just felt all the tingly feelings in my body. And I went in there and I performed the scene from Death Note where fucking L talks to Light before Light fucking murders him. Yeah, the friendship speech. But it was just like so encapsulating, like, and the feeling of doing that was just so freeing. And the fact that they were like, it touched them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, like I can really affect people that way. And that's crazy. And I want to do that more, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
My background with art has been, I don't know, it's always been a part of my life. Probably my first memories were me like, you know, scribbling and painting and drawing on the floor with my parents being like, oh, that's so cool. And then, you know, going to an art school and learning how to do those things. I was just kind of sad that I never got to really fully explore that until recently because of, you know, my own mental issues and just not being in a good environment and all that stuff. So I think with this is a good way to really...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
same for me
to
too.
express that part of myself.
For me, art kind of like, it feels like I can't describe like how I feel, but with that, it kind of like makes it easier for me to like let someone know like how it feels.
Well, it's like, they have, they're just feelings that aren't in the English language.
Yeah.
Other languages have them, but I think art is able to encapsulate all of those at once in a way
Without
that's
necessarily saying
in a way
or
that's
what it is.
beautiful, Yeah.
Or at least good art is.
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal, is
That's
to try
true,
to make you feel an emotion.
And that's
That's
why we're here.
probably that's going to be a theme that we talk about kind of always.
It's subjective, but everyone has their own opinion of what's good art.
It's subjective, but the person making the art is trying to instill an emotion on you.
I agree. I think at the very least, whatever
What's
their
subjective
idea is,
what's subjective about it is how that emotion makes you
feel
internally.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, I've also made things that I just don't have an intention on what it is, but you find it on the way.
Yeah, I do feel like some of the best art is like that, where you can tell it wasn't necessarily like, oh, me trying to make this big old message. It was just like, wow, I needed to get this out, and you're like, holy shit, me too.
Yeah. And they just like, they pick up on it. I mean, that's just a lot of people just do that.
Yeah, and I feel like when I see other artists do this, it makes me feel like less shitty about myself. You know what I mean? Just to know that there's someone else out there who
can understand.
Yeah, who can understand. They not even necessarily has experienced the same things, but has felt the same feelings.
And art does that. I mean, you're putting your feelings out, and then people are connecting from it.
That's why it's so great.
So what would you describe your art style as?
I don't know. What do you think?
I can't really say because I'm not trying to I mean, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, of course. And also, you can feel free to chime in based on our personal experiences together. This is my boyfriend, so we've known each other for a while. So I think you can.
For a year.
I think you can speak on it, and I won't be mad. You know what I mean?
Well, there's just some I don't know specifically. That's your style. It's just what you're trying to put out.
Well, I guess I could say what are some of my favorite things.
Well, you can say that too. I mean, because I know you like the military girl kind of style.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to go into more what you do? I kind of explained what I do.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a filmmaker, and I like to write, and I like to you do kind of everything.
I don't even know what to
I would
just
say what you mainly do for a living, and then what
dabbler.
you'd like to do.
Yeah. So I currently work as a sex worker / model, but I also do intuitive readings and stuff like that. I just want to say, I know there are some people listening who probably like, oh, that's awful. Well, you know what? It's just for introspection, so get off my dick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of for a different.
It's a whole.
It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into that.
What else do I do?
But it is very important to you, and I think that I do think it inspires your art.
Yeah,
100%.
and it's helped. I feel like that has also helped me to grow as a person, on almost spiritually, but more mentally. I've noticed it for sure.
I have too.
Yeah, progress for sure.
Oh yeah. But you do modeling, you do the witchy stuff.
So I guess I've done that. I've tried a bunch of different things.
You've done drama, like you said earlier.
Yeah,
in
I did theater. I did choir for years.
Yeah,
and I actually we competed and all that stuff. So I have a musical background, and so that's why music is very important to me as well.
Yeah.
What else?
You used to write when you were.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did a lot of writing and a lot of reading as a kid. What else? I'm trying to think.
Well, you can get into what you kind of want to do.
Yeah, I think.
Because I know you want to be an actress or try it at least.
Yes, I think moving over, I would love to do more roles in acting, and maybe even just for voice acting roles. I don't know. Honestly, I'm just kind of exploring what art is to me right now, and that whole journey is just great, and it's exciting.
I mean, it's always going to be changing.
Yeah, it just feels like a big adventure, and that's what is so inspiring about it, I think.
And just, I mean, it's a little biased or a little different, but since we've been together, our art styles kind of mesh.
I definitely think so. I think my art style is a little bit more dynamic, but yours is more methodical.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, just because I've been told that I'm kind of like a poet. I think you've kind of taken some of that too, where
we're like the poet and the rebel.
you take a picture of yourself and it's just kind of there's a lot there.
Yeah.
But you're just not. I mean, it's just whatever you feel from it.
Yeah, I do agree. I don't know if I'm at the point where I can say what I do is considered art, but I've had a lot of people tell me that.
I think it invokes emotion.
Yeah, and I think
that it does
like,
count.
It's like if it's art, if it moves you, it's art.
Yeah.
So I guess what I do is art.
Well, yeah. I mean, art's extremely subjective.
Yes, also very subjective.
But it's creating.
Yeah, and you can always make like new and transformative types of art, which is what I like.
Yeah.
I like mixing different styles and compositions
Yeah.
and stuff. It's really neat.
Because then you just get something new.
Yeah, and then once you've accomplished it, like there's just no other feeling in the world that's better.
It's just like, because there's like I've like heard or read something somewhere that our brains like really like just really want to finish tasks.
Yes, and not only that,
it feels very good when we finish a task. And with art, it's just like, this is something that I just made for myself, and like, that's a part of me, and now it's just done, and it's here, and people can see it.
It actually reminds me of that documentary I was watching about music.
Yeah.
Remember where it said that art tends to actually activate multiple areas of the brain?
This is explained on Netflix if anyone wants to see what is it, the music theory episode?
It was the explained docuseries. I can't speak upon the quality of the rest of the episodes.
We didn't watch any of the other episodes. We just looked at the music one. But what was the music one called?
It was the experience of sound, not just music.
Thank you.
Of sound, yes.
Yeah.
Which is why I thought that was more interesting, because it was more vague and it was more on the study of
really funny story. I mean, I never really had much experience with sound or like recording or anything until I did film, and like it's something so
it's
crazy.
Powerful. Yeah. So it's like, well, it activates multiple areas of the brain and is one of the few things that can elicit emotions such as like goosebumps, like just the shit that you would normally have to experience.
Physical reactions.
Yes, and that is what is so powerful.
I mean a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess since we've kind of talked about like what we do and like, I mean, you're gonna do you want to do everything.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep on just doing whatever makes my heart happy. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing this. This is new for us too.
Yes, this is
exciting. A little less new for me because I have kind of podcast background and like I like podcasts and stuff. I listen to a lot. But like just creating, being back into the space.
Yeah, I think the idea of just making something out of nothing is just beautiful, and that's art.
That's it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, take it very personally, but that's because it's a piece of them.
Yeah.
But criticism helps you make what you want and also be very good critically.
I think in general, just when it comes to life, you have to be open to criticism in order to get better, because you are not going to get...
You won't learn that way.
If you... or I think if you ask people for criticism that are just going to say yes and your stuff is great, you're never going to get better.
You want to have a safe environment where someone can tell you not being like an asshole, not trying to like piss you off with it, not saying your shit sucks, just saying like, hey...
objectively, these are the facts, and
I like what you did here,
feel,
and I think that it could have been better here.
Yeah, and it's more of a suggestion and less of a you have to sort of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of it's more of like just a suggestion of like you can improve and here's how.
But I do believe that it just depends.
It does.
The situation,
But you have to have a safe environment for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think everyone should be allowed to speak upon it just in a way that's civil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just nice and like, on the same playing field. But then you kind of get into the same field where it's like, I think you kind of really only can get that when you're in a group of your own peers.
Yeah, that's true. For sure.
Like I don't think if I went on the street and was like, "Hey, look at my video. What do you think of it?" Like they're not going to give me the same thing as like my film teacher or like my friend who worked on it with me or like, somebody else who was in the class or another film teacher.
Yeah, they might have different things to say, based on their experiences.
Well, they also just don't know the process. It's harder to critique something when like you just don't.
Or if you're not knowledgeable about it. Yeah, or if you're not even passionate about it.
Because there is bad criticism where it's just what you're saying isn't helping me. That's not
Steven Universe. Everyone that hates Steven Universe, holy shit!
Oh my god!
It's not a goddamn pedestal piece, but it's not as bad as people bring it out.
Let's save this for another episode. We're gonna talk about this
especially with the release of Steven Universe Shippuden. The future series. Yeah.
Yeah, Shippuden. I mean, that's it's literally like it's.
Yeah, that's a time skip.
He's grown up. Yeah,
it's really funny.
Shippuden. Yeah. I mean, it's not just Steven Universe. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows that are like that I think get
a lot of hate.
Yeah, a lot of hate.
But it's also, I mean, a lot of, from whatever I see, it's a lot of, I mean, some of it is based on the content, but a lot of it was from the like all the breaks they took and, you know.
I also think in general, when you watch art, you shouldn't watch art for a certain thing. You should just go in with an open mind. Because if you go in expecting something or wanting something, you'll find it, but you'll miss on all the other shit. You know what I mean? It's just not as all-encompassing. Or, you know, there's just less, you know, it's...
less room to grow.
Yeah, I agree.
You're just focused on one thing.
Yeah, and you're just focused on what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But that doesn't mean to say that you don't have to just fully love something just because you love it.
Which is why I was really irritated when my friend was like, oh, when we watched The Joker, I thought you were just watching it just to hate on it. I was like, no, I had zero expectations. Yeah. And I mean that in like a totally not judgmental way. Like, I don't really watch...
It's a little... I mean, you probably would have had a completely different like idea of what it was like a couple of years ago.
I think he was just more offended that he went off the political tropes and I went off the personal and emotional interactions. Yeah. That's why I was sad, you know. I felt more about his experience and I was like, oh my God, this is a man that the system has failed and continues to push down. It's like watching someone's agony for an hour, and that's what made me so sad about it. I was like, this poor guy. Yeah. And I think that's how you should feel. You should be appalled by those conditions. Yeah. You should never see someone suffering and be like, what? Yeah.
Well, it's tough because then there's some like bad movies that do that. Yeah. They just don't do it right, and then you just don't feel emotionally connected to it.
Yeah, and then it just feels awkward.
You're 13 Reasons Why-ing it. That's too much.
Yeah.
That's forcing it.
Yeah. Go a little too
I think we're going a little off the map here.
Yeah.
What's your favorite genre?
Genre?
Yeah.
For just what? Like.
Just give me a top 5.
For shows,
everything.
Movies. I don't even know. What would you say? Like fantasy?
I said genre on here because genre can fit everything.
Yeah, I would say like fantasy, horror. I like comedy.
This is where we're going to differ a lot, I think.
Noir, I guess.
And I mean, noir's kind of dead, but I mean, that would link into.
But it's one that we definitely like and watch a lot of stuff on.
But that's because my favorite genre is mystery.
Yes, that's true.
My second favorite is
really tangled together.
They're kind of two of the same thing. It's just mystery is like noir kind of died in the 50s, and it's kind of staying there.
I also like sci-fi. Sci-fi's good.
Sci-fi is great.
We both like it. Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't say sci-fi's in my top 3. But I still enjoy it.
Yeah, so I would say that. I would say sci-fi, noir, and what was the...
horror?
Horror, yeah. Those are probably my top 3.
And like fantasy.
Yes, fantasy, but I think fantasy is just what I'm most knowledgeable about because that's what I watch more as like a younger person. Yeah.
Well, we're very escapist as children.
Yes, we were both sad babies who used games and movies to not... deal with our problems.
To not focus on them.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was just to cope, you know. We were in environments where there was nothing else we could do.
We were getting away.
Yeah, and now we're sharing that.
Yeah. We're here.
So at least that time wasn't lost or wasted in value. Yes.
But I mean, we can also talk about video games too.
Oh my gosh,
I mean, for genres too. I mean, mystery games are still really on that shit.
We can totally touch on that. Like
even like Life is Strange is a mystery.
What would you say is your top?
Well, I think my favorite genres are mystery, romance, which is funny. Because you don't like romance.
Oh my gosh, I am always inclined to hate it because
But I've shown you some good movies. I've shown you some good movies.
Yeah, I do think there are good ones out there, and I agree.
You just gotta find them.
Yes, it's like we said.
But there's a lot of shit.
Yeah, it's like we said before. It's just the difference between personal and critical standpoints, which are two different things. Yeah.
I can still like bad romance.
Yes.
Just for my own personality.
Yeah, exactly. You can still like things that are bad because you
I'm
like them.
just a dude that loves love.
And you can still dislike things that are good because you just don't like them as well. Like if it's just not your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just it. Yeah, I mean, it's just it. What would I put? So mystery, romance, and I think maybe like, if I was gonna make something, I think it would be a drama.
A drama?
Well, it's a very weird, broad topic. Okay. It's like thriller. It's like
that's
true.
What
even is?
It's like a thriller.
I think those are like subgenres that like help you determine what genre of things are.
It's less like the genre, more like the vibe. You know what I mean?
Well, I think more like drama for me is kind of more of like I like to make things that are like cinematic and like very like kind of. I mean, it's dramatic. I mean, it's just like it's a story. It's just not an adventure.
Yes, I agree. It's like it's less like a story and more like looking into a time window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That happens too.
That's what I think those are, at least as far as like cinematic stuff goes, that tends to be what I tend to lean towards a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it feels less like, it feels more intimate. You
It's
know
like,
what I mean?
and it also feels like drama is usually centered in the real world.
Mm-hmm. So you can relate to it to some degree. Yeah.
At least to some degree. Mm-hmm. Or at least, like, you can be
the
like...
emotional bits and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's just, like, there's no bullshit to it. You're not going to go in and see, like, a CG fucking monster.
Yes, that is the one guarantee.
You're going in, you're going to watch something that... it's like real people having real problems. And, like, that's just the cinema version of it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's true.
Yeah. I really like mysteries, though, because I need something to rack my brain around for some reason. I think you know this.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to solve it before we're done.
Something to chew on a little bit.
Yeah. Another callback is we watch the TV show Scream, and that's always what we're doing.
Oh, my God.
The whole season during Scream, we're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yes, the whole 3 seasons of Scream, remember?
Yeah, there's 3.
Yeah. So I initially had introduced this to Hunter because me and my sister watched it as teens.
But I watched the movies.
Yes, and he had seen the movies. I have not seen the movies. So, like...
We should do that.
Yeah, we should. Okay,
right.
Just making a note to do that. Obviously. Halloween, duh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're going to be going into November with this Halloween shit.
I piqued his interest in this show. And we watched it, and we both found it to be pleasantly surprising.
It was so good.
It was very good.
An MTV show.
Yeah, it was like a jam.
Yeah, if you're thinking it's gonna be like a Teen Wolf, it's not.
It was like actually pretty okay, and it was one of those mysteries where the twist was unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Scream always does that.
No, I know, but like, you know what I mean. That doesn't happen all that much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean. Yeah, especially nowadays, and for a TV series.
Even for the 3rd season of Scream, which is newer, it was kind of, like, you could kind of already see where it was going from the beginning. Yeah. And that's what I didn't like about it as much in comparison to the 1st season. The 2nd season was just like, what?
The 2nd season was a fever dream.
It didn't need to be there
at
all.
We could have just had a new story for that.
They could have just gone, which would make sense for the movies, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be funny for them to just take the Scream, like, TV and just be like, yeah, well, it's just a movie, but we're making a TV show every time.
Yeah, I also liked that it was very self-aware. I love shows and movies that are self-aware.
Well, they started that. Scream was like the originator of that.
Okay.
That's why you go, oh no, like he's watching a movie and he goes, don't look behind you, and there's the ghost faces behind him, and he's just like, dude, like that's the whole joke about it. And they even do that in the Scream TV show where it was like, you don't make a slasher's TV show. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And they're like,
I loved it.
Like in the series, like we're just like looking around like.
It makes me think of those Office moments where they'd have the testimonials and they zoom in on their face.
They just look into the face and look into the camera.
It's just like that.
Yeah.
And you as a viewer, you're just like, haha.
That's funny because it is. Yeah, I do too. It's hard to do that nowadays because I think the Scary Movie
because the writing has to be smart. No one wants to do it smart.
And all because you're teetering on parody at that point.
Yes, yeah, it's hard to really dance along those 2 lines.
Yeah,
and
of parody and
good.
serious.
Yes.
You can still have a serious thing that breaks the 4th wall that kind of is self-aware.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's not a parody. That's like completely aware.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Like a Cabin in the Woods.
Kind of vibe. Yeah.
That's like a serious movie.
I don't think I ever saw that either.
It's okay, we can watch it.
Yeah, okay.
It's a horror movie that makes fun of horror movies. But it's serious.
I mean, I would love it.
But it's serious.
Yeah,
it's not a parody.
Great. Yeah. I know what you mean.
All right.
It's like a collection of tropes.
Good. I'm excited. Okay, so what are some of your favorite pieces?
Okay, so we
of anything.
So to start,
just jot them down.
What do you want to start with? TV, anime, shows, songs. There's a lot of shit.
I know there's a lot of shit, but I'm just saying the most important stuff.
Okay, so I'm a big weeb, so we'll start with anime.
We can do anime.
Okay, I would say my favorites are Madoka Magica, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Fate Zero.
Which we've all watched.
Yeah, hopefully. God, if you haven't seen it, watch it. I don't know, I'm just so obsessed with anything that Urobuchi writes, and the amazing thing is, like, the series was, like, a visual novel, which was smutty, but actually got turned into an anime that was really good, which is funny. Don't watch any of the stuff that isn't by Ufotable, though, because, like, the consistency in the shows is not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I heard Apocrypha fucking sucks. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of the most recent Fate stuff is kind of...
Yeah, it seems more like a cash
It's more
grab
like
with titties.
Fate Zero and like Fate...
Well, because it was written like a Greek tragedy, which you don't see a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love tragedies. They're my favorite kind of stories.
I mean, yeah.
I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from that, I think. Yeah.
I think tragedies are great, too.
My
But
only
I also
issue
think
with it-
comedies are great.
Yes, I agree
Just
with
a
that
nice
as well.
happy ending. A nice resolution. But also I enjoy like grim endings.
And for anime movies, I would say Garden of Sinners, more Orobuchi.
Yeah.
I really like Ghost in the Shell, which I watched recently.
It's great.
It's a sin that I haven't seen it until now.
Did
but
you
know what?
Did you watch Akira 2 recently?
I haven't yet. We can do that.
We're gonna do that.
Yes.
Like now.
We bought Metropolis and started it, but I actually didn't think it was that interesting, to be honest.
I think that's just I think it's literally just an anime interpretation of the 1930s
Yeah, it was
German
pretty
film.
aesthetically, like visually and stuff, but it wasn't that interesting in terms of content. And I think
it's just because that story is really slow.
Yeah, and it's not only that, it's just due to the fact that I think that the voice actors that they picked could have been better.
Yeah.
A lot of them were really monotone the entire time.
Well, they're robots.
Yeah, I know, but it's just, but you know what
Yeah,
I mean.
I know what you mean.
They did.
It's hard because that was a silent movie.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I'm sure there wasn't a lot of creative direction to go from.
No, there's a lot, but it's German expressionism. It's all about
Gotcha.
We're gonna take a little art lesson here, honey. German expressionism is kind of like it's the part of the German art like wave in which like the whole thing about it is you can take any frame of a movie and put it up on a wall, frame it. It's literally just art. It's cinematic.
Gotcha.
It's artistic. It's very visual.
Yeah, I definitely felt that.
When you think of Metropolis, you think of the skyscrapers, you think of the going into work and all of the people going in and out of work in the elevators, and then you think about the robot on top of there's some things that happen in that movie that's hard to explain. But
yeah, okay. We might have to give
the
it
fall
another
of the
watch.
city or whatever. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I enjoyed it. That's like week 1 film school shit.
Yeah.
Is you watch Metropolis.
Metropolis.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it. I'm not a film student.
No, it's okay. It's a long. I almost fell asleep during it. I think.
Yeah.
It's just long. It's quiet, and it's a little slow and boring, but. It's a great. If you want a visual movie, like it's great.
Let me think. What else? Oh, as far as what was it? Writing and music. I guess that's another thing to touch upon.
You were just on anime, but I mean,
well,
are you done?
because we're talking about what our favorite pieces were.
I know, but
general.
I just mean like, are you done with that?
I think so. We could talk about it more, but since this is episode 0, I'm good with just cutting that off with saying these are my favorites.
Yeah,
and this is what I've
that's
watched.
fine.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do mine and then we'll just back and forth
yeah,
and
we
just
can
on
just
the
switch back.
topics?
Yeah.
I think for me, for anime, at least for TV shows, Kill la Kill is like my favorite, I think. Then probably also JoJo's, I would say, number 2. But I don't know. It feels like a cop out now.
It does, because it's a whole
good.
bandwagon.
It's such a
but
good
the
show.
thing is, it gets the reputation it has. It deserves. It totally deserves it. And there's no reason to hate on it for no reason. There are reasons to hate on it, but you should hate on it because of its flaws and not because people like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very guilty of doing this sometimes, but usually I watch it and it turns out to be shit anyways.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes it is really like that, but it's not always like that. So it's good to check.
Yeah. And then I think for number 3 might be like. What is something that I'm like always crazy trying to... Hunter x Hunter is pretty great. I mean, I've been trying to show you that.
Yes, and we recently started watching it. So, and I'm invested. I'm good. Like, I was like,
so
okay, shonen, fighting arcs, let's just do it. Yeah.
It's just a very 90s shonen.
I think it's just, it was hard for me to wrap my head around the art style for the 90s stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's 90s.
Yeah, I think that, 90s shonen wasn't really my thing as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, it was for me because, I mean, I'm a little older.
Yeah, the only thing that I liked from that time period, if that counts, is like Naruto
Sailor Moon.
or Sailor Moon.
That's a little before.
Well, is it?
Sailor Moon's 90s.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't like Sailor Moon until I got
original
older,
Sailor
though.
Moon.
Yeah, so I don't think that really counts.
I don't think Naruto counts for that.
Yeah, it was the
period
cusp.
either.
It was like late 90s, early 2000s, like that kind of. So that kind of era was more my
The early 2000s was where it really switched. That's where we got the transition.
Yeah.
The transitional was like Yu Yu Hakusho and Sailor Moon, and then you had like Mar and Monster Rancher and like those.
Yeah,
that was the weird, awkward transition. And Zatch Bell.
Yeah.
And then we got into like Naruto and Death Note, and that's where it was like, oh, well, these guys are popular, so everyone's gonna do this. And then we waited for a little bit. We kind of were in that until like 2010, when like, I think like, I would say Attack on Titan, but like
that is
Sword Art Online, some of the other like popular ones, and that was kind of like the new area. I think we're kind of getting into a new art style now too.
Yes, yeah, you can really tell. Like, I just love the distinction and differences between.
We actually have the art style now is very line heavy, which I like. I love hard lines.
Yes, me too. I know a lot of people hate it, but I actually.
My Hero Academia is like that. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is like that. A lot of shows have been.
I mean, Attack on Titan is as well.
I guess Demon Slayer kind of is too.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't watched that, but
yeah, I wouldn't quote us on that because we haven't seen it.
I mean, I've seen pictures though. I know they use hard lines, like
fair.
outlines of their characters. Like their eyebrows are really like hard to, you know.
I like it.
I do too. I really enjoy how like it's transitioning too. For movies, for anime movies, I've seen so many.
Ooh.
I think my number one's probably Spirited Away. And then Kiki's.
Oh, yeah, Ghibli films are great.
Kiki's is just something that's really, like, I watched it when I was, like, rarely impressionable.
That's fair.
Like, really,
I loved Ghibli as a kid, but...
I think my third is Akira, but I need to show you it.
Okay, yeah. I won't speak on that then.
Yeah. It's just great. It's just great.
I feel like I would have put Ghibli films on my top...
It feels like a cop-out.
Well, it's not just that. It's like every one of his movies is literally just like science bad, nature versus science.
Yeah.
For like every... I get it. I get that that's his thing, but...
That's Spirited Away. Or Kiki's.
That's true, yeah. Those are the only two that don't like... But like literally every other movie of his
But those
is
are
like
also
that.
like the...
Or it's always kids versus adults.
Oh, yeah.
Which is fine, but it's... You know what I mean.
It gets tiring.
Yeah, it gets tiring.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So then what did you want to writing or...
Writing. I don't really
I don't
read that much
I don't read a bunch.
Yeah.
I mean...
I just recently, I only read like some horror novels.
I mean, we can
like
talk
that.
about manga if you want.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like in the same vein.
If I had to go for manga, I would say JoJo's, obviously.
I would say Tokyo Ghoul.
Yeah, and Tokyo Ghoul would have been my second. Just because...
My second is Yu Yu Hakusho, because, I mean, I have half of it already in print.
That's fair. I also read through the entirety of the Naruto manga, and I actually enjoyed it for the most part.
The Bleach manga is pretty great, too.
Yeah, it is. I just lost interest because I was doing other things, I think, at the time.
Okay.
The Death Note manga is also great.
Pokemon manga.
Yes. And I also really, really enjoyed the Fullmetal Alchemist manga. I read and reread that shit like it was my goddamn Bible.
I am a Junji Ito fucking fanatic. Mm-hmm. I own like almost all of his books.
Yeah, I like his stuff, but you like
I love his stuff. His stuff, like, I saw a funny meme where it was like Junji Ito and it was like a cute dog.
No,
and
I saw you.
You saw it?
Yeah.
And then there's a big creepy monster that was like Junji Ito's art and like stories.
It's so cute.
Yeah, he's just like a normal dude. He's just really interested in like really grotesque stuff.
Like a fascination with it almost.
Yeah.
It's interesting, I think.
Yeah. I also really love Solanin, who is made by
Pun guy.
Asino.
I haven't been able to finish Pun because it just makes me so sad.
It's so sad.
It just makes me cry.
I mean, a lot of their books. I don't know the
like
gender
that.
of the artist, but a lot of theirs is very dreadful.
Yeah.
But it's in like a world where like.
But it's good.
Shit's happening.
Yeah.
Like everyone's doing shit, but we're just focused on this one person.
Yeah,
really
it's
fucking
very
hating
immersive,
life.
and I think that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sets a certain tone for sure.
Yes, I agree. What about music?
Yeah, we can talk about music. I think, well, I'll just start it off because this is going to be probably in the top for both of us, is that we very much like Frank Ocean.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I would say I didn't even really listen to his music until like...
I wasn't super into Channel Orange, but I did listen to it, but Blonde was the one that like...
Yeah, I like both, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I think the reason why I am so inclined to like him is just, I think that his individual style is very smart, but also very emotional, has a lot of emotional depth to it, which is generally what I try to look for in music. But at the same time, he sets it up like a symphony, so it feels less like he's telling you something and more like he's like, look at all these experiences I've had, feel these feelings, and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, he clearly has like a vision for it.
Yeah, it's almost profound to a sense.
Yeah. I think that it might be nice to like just give a little, open the curtain a tiny bit.
Yes.
I'm gonna probably generally say a lot of rap music, but it's only because like I'm not a very confident person, and I like to listen to rap music because it makes me feel confident.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that point of view. Like it makes me feel like on my
empowered.
Shit. Yeah, it makes me. It's empowering.
It is. I'm really into Kendrick Lamar.
And I think as far as rap goes, yes, I love Kendrick.
Dude, he's so good.
Yeah, I also
I really enjoy. We'll start on this. We can add Frank into this, but for music, I really like conceptual albums. I like to sit down and listen to one album, and it's a story, and I'm listening to this story.
I really like hearing
Kendrick
someone tell
has
their truth. Yeah.
Even I mean, I didn't really like Damn at first because I didn't think that there was like a narrative, but I definitely now I know
and he's very intentional with the way he words
things.
His
is more of like a checklist where he's like, all right, well, I want to, I mean, it's not like, it doesn't feel like that.
I feel like it's more like, this is my truth, listen to my truth, bitch. That kind of thing. And it's just great. It's a lot like that. And I think that's the empowering part.
But I mean, there's a big thing with Kendrick where it's like, there's a lot of things people don't want to hear.
Yeah, that's
and he
true.
wants them to hear it.
Yeah,
that's the
so
truth.
Fantastic, I think. I love
it's
that
like
mentality.
Because it was funny because for To Pimp a Butterfly, he released I think it was I, and he released it before the album, and it was like his whole, it's gonna be all right, or I think it was All Right.
I don't even remember.
All Right came out, and first thing was King Kuta, and then All Right, and Gaga, husband, we gonna be all right, that kind of like thing. And then when the full album was released, he did a live version of that where like, halfway through it, like the audience starts like fighting or something. He's like, hey, and like I'll show it to you later.
Okay, yeah, I'm interested to see that.
He says like a bunch of like, he really breaks down like the like some like racial words and stuff, and like tries to be like, yo, like let's fucking stop, like come on. Like, you guys are all out here killing each other in the street. We're done. We're tired of this. Like, why don't we just stop? And it's kind of just really strong. Yeah,
it's definitely like I don't know how to describe it. It's definitely something that speaks to you on a cellular level almost.
Yeah, just deeper.
I think that's what I like about it so much. What else do we like?
I said Frank Ocean and Kendrick Lamar.
I've been listening to a lot of like more R&B hip hop shit. Yeah. We like Saba.
Saba's so good.
Let me check my Spotify playlist here.
I should probably also do that.
So we can get input.
I mean, I also listen to a lot of J-pop and J-rock.
Things,
so that's like, and then K-pop kind of and stuff.
I like A$AP Rocky.
Oh, Nakey Jakey's in this.
Yeah, Nakey Jakey. He's one of our favorite YouTubers, and also
he's
he makes music.
He's a YouTuber who makes great music. Nakey Jakey, he's hilarious.
Yes. So I also
go look him up.
So I also like No Name, which is the female artist.
Yeah. We're crazy into Anonymous right now.
Yes, he's great.
He's like an underground rapper from Florida. He was an anime rapper at the start. He did a Yu Yu Hakusho themed like album, and that's kind of how I found him. I saw some art and I just started listening to his stuff, and then he released Vice City, which is a very like sins and very religious kind of like vibe around Miami. I mean, it's like Vice City. It's kind of him battling himself, like his head. And I just think it's great.
Tell. Yeah.
I haven't listened to a crazy amount of No Threat, but we're definitely gonna
we're getting into it. What else do I like? I like A$AP Rocky like a lot.
A$AP is great.
I also like that he is very honest. I think about even just about his life and stuff. He's like, this is what I do. This is what I am. Like, wow. Not very many people can do that. Not very many people can say that.
Yeah. I also really like Kanye. People don't like to talk about Kanye anymore.
I think I
haven't listened to a lot of his
stuff with his work. As far as artists go,
he makes great art. He's just a bad kind of person.
Yes, it's like that with a lot of people, and it's always been like that. I mean, for decades. I mean, H.P. Lovecraft was the biggest horror author, but he was really fucking racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't want to agree with some of these people, but you know what? They make good shit.
Mm-hmm. I like Brockhampton a lot too. That group is good. I know you don't like them, but I like their conceptual ideas.
It's okay.
And I initially had no idea that it was like a group of people. I thought it was just like a dude.
It's a group.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of coordination going into that. That's crazy.
I think their name is based off of. I don't want to say actually. I don't know for sure.
It's okay.
At least what I thought of it was like
and Tyler. Duh.
Yeah, Tyler the Creator. Duh.
He's great. Yeah,
he's great.
I find him to be very inspirational because he's just always.
He just does whatever.
Yeah, and that's
he does
so
what he wants.
freeing. And I always wanted to be like that. You know.
Yeah, it's very freeing. I mean, it's like you can see like that's why when you listen to a Tyler the Creator song or you watch Loiter Squad like we.
Or it's also very reminiscent of like childhood memories. You know, that kind of happiness. Yeah. I think that's why it's so addictive.
You just know this is him.
Yeah.
Like you can just see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just bears himself, and he's like.
You don't like his most recent album as much as I did, but I really did like his most recent. album.
What's funny is that you didn't like the first song, the Earthquake one?
Yeah, I don't like.
I like that one compared to most.
Because it's a radio song.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't care. I still
because
like it.
because it is a conceptual album, but that one just doesn't fit the tone for me. Just because it's kind of a very sad. It's a very sad like kind of. I mean, it's a breakup record.
Yeah.
But that's the one where it's like, we need like a cool like radio banger to like put on here.
Yeah, just to promote
and it's just it doesn't fit.
I don't care. I like it, but that's also
that's
just
okay.
Personal preference, you know.
Yeah, and you know what? That's fine. I'm not mad that it's there, and I'm not mad that that you like it or other people like it. I think it's fine, but for me, I just think it just doesn't fit.
Yeah, that's fair.
For the overart, it feels like a step back for like what he's trying to say. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just a change in direction. So
it's just like the whole album is. We can get into this. I think we should do episodes where we dissect albums like this.
Okay.
But,
yeah.
But just for this song, at least, I feel because the album itself is all about like him fighting and breaking up with this person and then finally being free of them.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, just like we had the intro and it's kind of like really kind of sad, and then we had like this like little like snippet, and then comes Earthquake, and it feels like, because that's the one where he's like, I really want to like make this work, and like I really love you and shit. Let's like you make my world earthquake, you know.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like weird to me.
I think I just find feel like it doesn't fit. More relatable, because that is.
I mean, I'm focused more on this is the thing you were saying of it, is that I'm more methodical, is that it doesn't fit for me, but because I look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, I think from an emotional standpoint it does to some degree, but it doesn't. Maybe there's less logic into it. Yeah,
I agree.
Who else? I like J. Cole. I haven't really been listening to him recently, but I do tend to like his stuff. It's consistent, it's personal, and I like the wording and phrasing that he tends to use. Mm-hmm.
I can't really comment more on the crazy amount of music because I listen to podcasts.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I work very long shifts where like I can't listen to the same album 3 times in a shift. My brain would explode.
Go nuts.
Yeah, I would just go nuts.
I also recently went through this weird time period where I managed to find J-Indie and J-Rock singles that sounded like anime openings, but were just legitimately Japanese music.
Let's just talk about that genre.
Yeah.
Just punk. It's kind of like a punk.
Yes, I think that's why music. I find it to be so relatable, because me as in my childhood I loved.
You're defiant.
Music. Yes, and I loved bands that were like that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Just to really fuck you to.
It feels very unified and it feels good. Yeah, that's why I like it.
I think punk. What I like about punk is that like there's times where you need to. There's times where you need to realize like things aren't okay.
Yeah, and I agree.
I think the whole thing about
is
punk is like not only that, but I just want to get it out, and it's a lot of yelling.
Yeah,
a lot of the time, it's just you just want to feel like sometimes you want to scream.
For sure, and then also we listen to Steven Universe music mixed with different types of vaporwave.
Well, we can talk about film music and stuff is a little different.
Yeah, that's true. But
TV music.
But it's I guess that's true. Yeah, I would separate those.
It's a completely different.
But those are things that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Other than that, I think that
usually I let Cass kind of take the reins on what we listen to if we're listening to things together. I'm not in the know. Mm-hmm.
I'm not either. I just look for what I like and then I listen to it.
Yeah.
And he seems to think that my taste in music is good.
It is.
Huh.
Well, mine's less good, but I mean, I showed you a couple
Well, we
things.
also listened to music that were on the American Horror Story soundtrack, but weren't necessarily crafted for that. You know, like oldies singles. I love anything between the 50s to the 70s.
Yeah, we're both
80s
really.
is good too.
I have a whole playlist that's 70s to 80s.
That's fantastic. Yeah, just anything related to that time period because, well, just due to my
like
musical background, I can also...
Yeah, you didn't even know. You were like kind of not about Hollow Notes or when I mentioned them to you. And then we were listening to the AHS podcast and it was Maneater came on and you were like, this is a good ass song. And I was like, this is Hollow Notes. And you were like, what?
Yeah. I just needed some time to really open my mind to the idea of different genres and stuff. Yeah.
It takes a while because you think like, that's my dad's music or whatever.
That's Yeah, exactly. You think it's cool. But then
you're like, shit, this bops. Like Fleetwood Mac is like fucking good.
Yeah. You're like,
Steely Dan? Okay.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah. Wow.
And thus sprung up my newest obsession with Stevie Nicks. She's great.
I think that is like a genre that people call as dad rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stuff like that. I don't care. I like, like, shut up, boomer.
Shut up, boomer. Yeah. What else for music? Is that what we want to talk about for music?
I think that's kind of it for me. Yeah.
We kind of did a lot for music.
That was a lot, for sure.
What about, let's go to TV.
TV.
Well, what's our favorite TV shows? I'm going to talk about, we talked about Scream, but I don't know if that's going to be our favorite.
Well, you know I have a soft spot for American Horror Story.
Oh, I do too.
Despite the narrative not always being great, but
I wouldn't say it's my favorite.
The visual style is always consistent, and I love that they reuse
it's the
same
quality.
cast. Yes. And I fucking love Sarah Paulson and Jessica Lange.
I wouldn't say that they use the same cast. Yeah. They do add to it in the later seasons.
They're open to reusing same actors. Yeah. And I think that's what makes
I think it's really personal because the creator just gets friends with these people.
Yeah, it makes it more vibrant, I think, for sure. I mean,
well, to the point of where, like, we were watching some Vanity Fair, like, iconic characters from Sarah Paulson or whatever.
And from Jessica Lange as well.
And we did Jessica Lange too, but in both of those videos, they talk about how the creator of AHS, like, you know, refers them to other work, and that's where we saw like OJ versus the People, which was
fantastic.
We just watched that recently.
I don't even really like
really good.
true crime or a docuseries or whatever the fuck you call it.
Well, that's not a docuseries. That was a dramatic reinterpretation.
I don't usually watch dramatizations. I don't usually even enjoy them, but
that's what I was talking about for genre. That would be a drama.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, I don't usually like drama, but I liked that one a lot.
Yeah, it was good.
Despite even knowing the outcome, you know.
No, but the point of it was that the director is just they're so like connected that even then they'll like be like, hey, there's something coming up. Do you want to go like audition for that? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh my god, yeah, like because they're all just really good friends. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about Chuck.
Okay.
I love Chuck.
I have not watched it, so I can't speak about it.
I'm gonna show you Chuck.
Okay.
But Chuck is a show about a nerd who gets a supercomputer filled with all of CIA's information into his head.
Oh.
Whenever he looks at something that's in there, they call it like a flash, where he like, you know, stutters around, and then like pictures flash in his head, and he just instantly knows what to do about that.
Aww.
It changes later on when he can like physically do shit. Then he can like physically learn karate in a second, and then he's just like, oh,
that's cool.
That's like his whole thing is he's just like a nerdy dude, and like he has to keep it a secret because it's like he's a spy, and he's got two guys. With like one girl, FBI or CIA handler, and then an FBI like head agent that's with him, and I think that's one of the Afflecks play or not Afflecks. Fuck. What is it? The Travoltas, I think. One of the Travoltas.
Oh, okay.
Is that. Or no, it was Baldwin. It's
Baldwin?
It's one of the
Baldwin.
It's one of Baldwin's.
Okay. Cool.
I get confused because John Travolta just looks like a Baldwin.
He looks like he would be one, right?
Like a weird cousin. No, but yeah, that show's just fucking great. It's just it's fun, it's happy, it's sad, it's like it's everything. It's just a great show.
Yeah.
And it's got
I
think 5 or 6 seasons. Yeah, I mean, I just gushed about it. It's got about like 5 or 6 seasons. It's on Amazon Prime, which is why I'm like, let's fucking do this. We just have a lot to watch.
Yeah,
we're still in Hunter x Hunter, and that's 200
It's not only that, but
episodes,
just like life stuff.
Yeah, we've just been kind of bogged by life.
A lot of shit.
But hopefully this is kind of just going to help us, like, you know. I would love to do an episode after we're done about Chuck, because it's very crazy, dude.
Okay, yeah.
if anyone wants to go watch Chuck now,
I am open to watching new material.
I love
it.
That's my favorite TV show.
Okay, so as far as what, I guess...
Dexter's pretty good, but I don't like to say that it's my favorite just because, like, half of the series is bad. After season 4, it's just a fucking train
We'd
wreck.
say The League.
The League is our favorite.
Oh
okay,
my God,
we love The
League. That's our current favorite right now. I love anything.
I don't know if
Nicole.
it's current, but I mean, I've always really loved The League, and we can always just rewatch it because it's just so fucking good.
It's one of my current favorites, just to watch, just because it's always consistently funny.
Do you want to explain it? Because I just explained a whole TV show.
It's okay. It's literally just like a satirical show about a fantasy football league, but like almost to like I don't know the term. Like
it's like a fantasy football show that's not about fantasy football.
Yeah. Well, not only that. Well, I think it is. It shows the world.
Well, that's not the important.
Yeah. It's not the important part, right? But at the same time, it kind of is because
it's all these people are obsessing about this.
Yes, it's about people that are like upset, like to the point where it's like crazy, and so
crazy shit just happens.
So they get into crazy scenarios for the sake of fantasy football, and it's just hilarious to me. They picked good actors. And Nick Kroll is in it.
Yeah, Nick Kroll's great.
Or
I don't know.
Okay, I don't.
I doubt it. Yeah. It was earlier in his career.
I feel like he produces. He's in a lot of stuff.
He's got his hands everywhere.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think
though,
that was like one of the stepping stones for him.
I think he's a funny guy. So
he is really funny. Yeah, we love The League.
We liked Big Mouth until it got all weird.
I don't know what.
For season 1 of it was perfect.
Season 1 was good, and then everything after it.
It was just like a big question mark. I feel kind of like jaded for watching it.
Let's not talk about the stuff we don't like. Let's talk about the stuff we do.
Yeah, you're right.
Like.
Let's talk about the stuff we do like. What else do?
Because we're trying to tell them like what's our baseline.
Yeah,
what
we can bitch about
enjoy?
stuff later.
Yeah, we'll bitch about stuff plenty.
Let me think for shows. What else have we liked? I got Western shows, I guess.
Yeah, we'll talk about Western. Well, not cartoon or anything. Oh, I guess you could talk about cartoons.
If we're talking about cartoons, then Over the Garden Wall.
Yeah.
And Steven Universe.
Yes. We'll talk about Steven Universe. We'll just skip Steven Universe.
Yeah.
We're gonna save that.
That'll be its whole thing. Yeah. Over the Garden Wall, I think it's
so great.
It's very clearly that
we're gonna do an episode about this
for
soon.
sure. It'll fit for spooky season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Spooky season. Expect Over the Garden Wall. Go watch it on Hulu.
Yes.
It's like
if you
fucking
10. It's
how long is it? An hour.
Total.
It takes like an hour. It's 9 episodes. They're 15 minutes each. Just go watch it.
It was
it's
just like
fantastic.
this Enigma in Cartoon Network. It was released in like 2016.
I was surprised it was even released.
Yeah. I saw it when it released on TV, like on cable.
It's like a children's cartoon. Or aimed towards children, I guess, with very horror-inspired tropes and ideas, and a very like a really behind-the-scenes picture of some pretty heavy shit.
There's a lot of layers to it, I think for sure.
Yeah. Like, death is a huge theme in a children's show, and it's just like,
so
whoa.
surprising that it was a kid's show and that they released that. But
I was
at
surprised.
the same time, I loved it. It was very clearly that, like, just with all the detail that was put into it, you could tell it was this guy's passion project.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. And that's what makes me also love it so much. Because I know he put so much time and thought into it. It's like, wow. And it also gives you the feelings that he was going for. It's like, it's happy, but at the same time it inspires.
It's very melancholy.
Yes, and it inspires like an eerie kind of feeling or a fear of the unknown.
It's uneasy.
Yes.
That's what I usually say.
And that is so interesting to me. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a great show. Expect an episode on that soon.
For sure, yes.
Yeah. You want to move to movies? I think we talked a lot about
movies. Yes.
TV.
We like horror. He likes horror.
I like horror.
I like the idea of scary things, so I'm into it.
My favorite movie is probably The Thing.
Yes.
But I do want to also put up that, like, Whiplash was the reason why I wanted to be a filmmaker. And Damien Chazelle's, like, movies and everything is just great. I mean, La La Land, we watched La La Land. I don't know, we should rewatch it. Yeah, we'll rewatch it, but we definitely watched Whiplash, and it was just...
It was really good, yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies. It's amazing.
Sorry.
Other movies, Big Lebowski's fucking amazing. I think that's just like,
I wasn't initially inclined to like it, but after watching it more, you tend to realize like the amount of care that's put into it. You're like, wow, there's like I love
the fact that Donnie just is lost in conversation until he hears something that he knows about, and then he chimes in, and then they just say stop.
Yeah, I also like how movies from that time period don't are cool with the idea of making characters that are the main characters but aren't actually the center of the plot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just them and what's happening.
Well, that's
around
also
them.
a very like director thing for those guys. Is
Yes.
that they're trying to build a world, and then the characters are just in the world.
Yes, but I feel like a lot of more modern stuff fails to do this, or doesn't
Yeah.
even consider it, at least, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
You're like, this is a perspective that could exist, and they're like, nah, I want freeze frame cuts that are cheaper to make. Makes me so
Yikes.
sad. Yeah. What else did we
I
watch?
those are kind of like I would call
Tarantino movies.
Yeah, we like Tarantino movies,
Oh
but
my
before we
gosh.
get to that,
Okay.
I really like When Harry Met Sally. I showed you this. I don't
Yes,
think
I
it's
hate
as good
drama,
as you
romance,
are.
And I loved How Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, that's my favorite romance, and that's why romance is so high up for me. Is because of that movie. I really love that movie.
He's so cute. He has a sweetheart.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was trying. How long did I wait? I mean, I knew about this movie since I met you, but
Yeah.
I knew that you don't like romance. So how long did it take me to
was
like
a while
plan a
for
way
you to-
for you to dupe it into you?
You started by mentioning
I knew you-
it, and then
I
I,
knew
was
you
like, I don't really like that.
I know, but I knew you were gonna like it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I know you were like, I was like, do you want to watch any romances? And it'd be cute. And you were
I was
just like,
"Bleh."
you're like, no.
Yeah, no.
And then I was like, fuck. We waited a long time, and then like
It
you
happened
moved
eventually,
in new and stuff, like and then finally I was like, do you want to watch this?
I also really liked American Werewolf in London.
Oh, that movie's fun.
What was that other movie you showed me? The sci-fi one? I don't remember the title, but the Consume.
Oh, They Live.
They Live was really good.
Okay, I love John Carpenter. He's great. A lot of people, I mean, he's kind of like a love him or hate him kind of director.
Gotcha.
But I love his movies.
I don't really know much about it.
Because
so I
The
can't really
Thing
speak on it.
and Escape from New York and They Live, those were like some of the most. And Halloween, we're gonna watch Halloween
Oh, okay.
either tonight or
I
tomorrow.
didn't know he.
This was one of his. That's got him off the map. It's a B film where he made a horror film, and it's
Actually, pretty good.
it's very good. But that's why it's very polarizing. His movies are always really slow. They always have like a really long build up, but when it pops off, like it fucking pops off. You watch The Thing. The Thing is very inherently extremely slow.
It starts out.
But when those dogs explode, like dude, like that
like,
shit's
holy shit,
nuts.
yeah.
Like it's popping off.
What else did I like? Okay, so as far as horror goes, I love zombies. I love the whole zombie trope in intros. In fact, I was so obsessed
It's just hard
with
to do now.
Yeah,
It's just so
it's
saturated.
overdone. Yeah. But I think that you can like if you.
Yeah.
But sorry, that's going a little
You're
off
good.
track. But the reason why I liked it is like, I liked it so much that for like a whole year, that's kind of like the only media that I consumed. If that makes
Zombies?
sense. Yes, and that's also why I had nightmares for a year about zombies, but it was cool. And now I'm desensitized to my nightmares, so it's not too bad.
Nice.
But my favorite zombie movie would probably be 28 Days Later.
That's a good movie.
It's like the only zombie movie that genuinely like instilled feelings of terror.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas with the other stuff, it was more psychological. Where I was
Shaun of
thinking
the
like,
Dead.
yes, Shaun of the Dead is also good. It's
great.
It's not the.
That's also what I was
zombie
telling
movie.
you about, where it's like self-aware, but it's not a parody.
Yes, it's funny, but the point isn't that it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Yeah. 28 Days Later, pop off, babe.
Oh my gosh, it was terrifying.
I mean, I've also seen this because I was in my horror movie class. We watched it, but
Yes.
yeah, it's just really just crazy.
I would have shown it to me. I think it takes place in Britain or the UK, right?
UK.
From that perspective. And it's just kind of about, it's so scary because it's just this dude.
Well, he just wakes up
in a
and,
hospital as
and
a patient.
it's gone.
He has no idea. He's
It's
like,
kind of like the start of Walking Dead, but it did it way before Walking Dead did
way
it.
better.
And way better, yes.
Yes. I was.
And there's just imagine let me paint a frame.
Yeah, go nuts. You've seen this
Just
before too.
imagine like large like cathedral buildings in London with it's a very wide shot, and there's just this one little guy walking across the screen, and there's just piles of bodies everywhere.
Yeah, that was like very.
That's just the very
sobering.
yeah. It's I mean I would say
It was gritty.
I feel like I would say it looks like The Walking Dead, but to a scale like times 20.
Yes, yeah.
It's like 20 times bigger.
I think it finally managed to capture like the kind of grittiness that I had been kind of thirsting for in my zombie media.
Yeah,
so
it
I got
is.
that. I was like, ooh, nice. I'm genuinely scared.
I mean, the moment he goes into that church is like I shit myself.
Yeah, I think
almost.
I
it just is really fucking scary.
there are a lot of moments that are just like that.
Well, because in those moments you think like, what would I do?
Yeah, you have no idea, and you're
like,
oh fuck.
Yeah.
I think what was it? The scene for me that really did it was the car scene when they were driving through the tunnel and they had no idea what was gonna happen. It was dark. And all you could hear were noises, and it was just terrifying. I was like, I would have pissed myself. You know? Just genuine terror. Yeah, just stuff like that. I think I tend to enjoy the most in my horror. Yeah, which doesn't seem to happen.
What other movies do you really like? I mean, it's kind of muddied because I've kind of shown you a lot of these.
Yeah,
movies,
that's true. I'm trying to think of what I've liked before we met. You know, that sort of thing.
That works.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Me and my dad watched a lot of a lot of action. Like I really liked Gladiator and Braveheart as a kid.
Those are movies that I would not watch.
Yes, and I also like The Last Samurai as well.
Last Samurai I probably would watch, but
I liked all three, like movies like that, because my dad was a real man's man. Yeah. And so he liked war movies. He liked action.
It's really confusing because my grandpa, who is kind of like my dad, he really was into sci-fi. He's the only person I know that likes Star Trek. I mean, Star Trek's a thing everyone really likes, but he was like the guy who would. My only experience of Star Trek was watching with my grandpa.
Yeah, which is great. I've never really delved into sci-fi the way I have until we started, hanging out and stuff.
Oh man,
which is neat.
It's just deep into me. But sci-fi is could be anything futuristic.
I like that you can go in a lot of places with it,
or you can do it very grounded in reality.
It is great because you're not limited to the whole
like Arrival is a movie about aliens, and you don't see an alien a single time.
I haven't seen it before.
It's basically Amy Adams is like a translator for aliens.
Oh, that's so cool.
They show patterns, and then they have noise or something, and it's just her trying to interpret it.
Oh,
and
okay.
The big really visual cool. is a glass, and then her putting a hand up, and then something
Oh shit, that's some Black Mirror shit. We didn't include that either. Black Mirror.
Is I like. I think Black Mirror. I don't know if I can really talk to it about it's more of an anthology series.
Yeah, and the quality is a little inconsistent.
Yeah, that's why. But I mean, they're all created by different creators.
Yes.
That's why. I mean,
I don't mind it though. I think that it's certain the episodes that I like, I really like.
I agree. Yeah. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I got you. Games. That's the last.
You want to talk about games? Okay.
Well, I guess we can do a separate thing on that if
we can do, but we can just jump into it really quick. I mean, because our first topic is going to kind of be.
Yeah, that's true. Because this does pertain to our next segment. I would definitely say that Pokemon.
I won't get too crazy into it just because our next episode is going to be Pokemon.
Top 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or to 3 to 5. We'll say because we're both very opinionated. We watch a lot of stuff and play a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So the games that I play a lot, or
series
recurrently,
that you enjoy.
Yes, the Pokemon series forever. Mm-hmm. It's been a childhood nostalgic pick, and I have obsessed over it for years. And I'm so glad that I'll finally get to talk about it and put this knowledge to use.
Me as well.
Yes, that's why we get along. We're the only person I know who's equally as obsessed about Pokemon as I am, and I feel like
same.
way less of a dork for knowing that. You know what I mean?
Because then we also have very deep and heated conversations about Pokemon.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we do. Not just the differences in perspectives, but factual things.
We're gonna get into this next episode.
We also both played League of Legends. A decent amount.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's my favorite game,
he doesn't
or I would even talk about it in an artistic way.
Yeah, that's true. I liked The Evil Within a lot.
Yeah.
I liked it was kind of dancing the lines between reality and not reality, and those probably one of
psychological horror.
Yes, I love psychological horror, and it's one of my favorite things ever.
That's kind of I would say BioShock is one of my favorite games, which you just started playing, but it is a very same kind of vibe.
And you know what? The second I was like, oh, this is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
What else? For art,
just kind of I would say like I said, BioShock, I love.
Yeah.
Pokemon, I love.
I like certain visual novels. I really like Corpse Party.
Corpse Party's great.
I've never seen a horror game that does it in a visual novel kind of way, but it's not too slow and it's not boring, which is
the only
weird.
one I would really say that's like what you were describing. Well, it's not really a visual novel though.
Yeah.
Would be like the Walking Dead Telltale series.
Yeah. What? That's a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
That was the first thing they did. That was what popped them off.
Oh, okay.
Or like The Wolf Among Us. We played that.
Yeah, we did. I liked that gave you a narrative among fantasy creatures, but in a way that was modern and also very noir, which is
and it's just never really talked about.
Yes.
I mean,
and it also it touches on issues like class and race.
Yeah. And in a world after all these fantasies are done.
Yes. And it's, I don't know, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I find the main character to be likable.
Yeah.
Or, you just want to root for him, and that's enough.
Yeah,
for
Big
me.
B. I mean, well, there's a lot of different ways you can take Big B, though.
Yeah, and it gives you kind of the freedom of choice to kind of choose what.
I always really like to play him as like the redeemed. After they left Fabletown, like he just wants to get better.
Yeah, I agree.
But there are people who play him like, I'm still the big bad wolf, and I'm gonna fucking eat you.
Yeah, like PewDiePie.
Yeah, PewDiePie. Well, I think he just fucked up on a couple.
Yeah,
of those.
I think he clicked one of the options that actually was like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, because the one dude died.
Yeah. Or the time when he ripped the guy's arm off, and he was like, I think that was a bit too much.
Yeah. Well, that's those games. You can't go back unless you're playing Life is Strange.
That's true. We also like that.
I love Life is Strange. All three of the games I love.
We're also playing through the second one right now.
Oh my god. Yeah,
it is really good. I like that they managed to make another aesthetic that seems kind of cozy.
I would love to talk about an
immersive?
episode for Life is Strange.
Yes, I would also love to keep playing that.
It's amazing.
Yes. And it's a totally new story, but the vibe is still very cozy and familiar.
And weird.
Yes, and weird.
It's a very like weird kind of like.
You feel
we use the
out.
word weird in a very positive way.
Yeah, I don't think of weird as bad. Weird is usually like different.
Weird is usually like what makes you feel unfamiliar
or dubious. Yeah, something that you don't quite understand.
That's whenever I say weird. Yeah. Is like it's unfamiliar.
Me too. Yeah. I agree.
I would also say Oblivion is like one of my favorite games ever.
Yes, Elder Scrolls for sure. I like Skyrim a lot.
I don't like Skyrim as much, but Oblivion like was my shit for like 3 years straight. All I played was Oblivion until my save files would get corrupted and I would just start the fuck over.
That's hilarious. I also enjoyed the Final Fantasy series, the older games. I can't really speak much upon like the more modern titles.
I can't really say a whole lot about Final Fantasy other than that I just played 10 really hard.
Yes, I will say that the narrative is like very.
But I'm super into Kingdom Hearts.
It makes me think of Star Trek where they start, they're like, this is this and this is the world, haha, and you're just, it makes me think of like 80s anime where everything was fantasy, like that was the big trope back then, and I love.
Or like fantasy. Gundam is still like very high fantasy.
I love my fantasy, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I like Oblivion more than Skyrim because I think that's more of a classical idea of like fantasy. Like the swords aren't like like I think Skyrim is very like inspired by like Viking ideals. And so, like, this, like, the axes look very
and
Viking.
And the more Norse kind of
it's a very Norse thing. But Oblivion, like, in that, like, world, it's very, like your sword is, like, looks like a knight's sword. Your axe looks like a knight's axe. Like, it's very, like,
the more European tradition
yeah,
style.
It's more of, like, a medieval.
Yeah. I get what you mean. What else do we like?
I think that's all.
Yeah, those are some good examples.
I really like. What is it? Firewatch. I love Firewatch. That's like a visual novel kind of, but it's a first person. You're a guy, and you just took this job to be a forest ranger, and you go around to see if there's shit going on.
Outlast.
You like Outlast?
I do. I would say that's one of my favorites. Yeah. We also liked Until Dawn.
Until Dawn is awesome.
Yes, it was also very good.
That one's also, I guess, would fit in with your visual novel kind of thing.
Yes, for sure.
I think those games are just visual novels.
I love Outlast, but I can't really play it that much. I think the games that terrify me most in horror are where you can't fight back and you have to hide. It's terrifying.
Have to run.
Yes.
I don't like that either.
Not my style.
No, me neither.
That's why I preferred The Evil Within, because you could at least shoot them.
Yeah, you can fight them.
Yeah. Oh, Dead Space.
Dead Space is great.
Oh, in a way that I
got those on my PC too if you wanted.
Yes, and I would love to replay that shit. I like that they took a different take on not just psychological horror, but on zombies in general.
And also sci-fi horror.
Yes, and the way that you kill them is different, which is neat as fuck. Yeah. And it's scary because you're alone, like the entire time. I think isolation is one of the scariest things in horror, for sure. Anything? I can't really think of anything else.
I think that we should just wrap it up right now.
All right.
That was us. This is episode 0 of the Untitled Artcast.
Our first
with
lot.
Hunter and Kass.
Hell yeah.
And our next episode should be soon, probably next week. We're doing Pokemon.
Yes.
Because we need to talk about
Yes,
this
we need to get this out of our system.
So we're doing Pokemon.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yes,
and,
thank you.
Hope to...
Yeah, we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Go ahead, run that shit back.